When you think of video games, you might think of this sort of thing. Action, shooting, pure entertainment for the sake of good fun. However, video games can be more than that. They can be artistic and thought-provoking. In this video, I will be talking about 6 different people who have demonstrated classic romanticism through the video games they created within only the past decade. Let's begin. Scott Benson was a co-writer, artist, and animator for Night in the Woods, a story-driven game released in 2017 by the independent company Infinite Fall. In Night in the Woods, you play as May Borowski, a college dropout who decides to revisit her hometown only to find that it's changed since she last saw it. Her friends are all grown up, her favorite restaurants have gone out of business, and the whole town is overall much quieter than she remembered. The lovable characters, slice-of-life story, charming dialogue, warm colors, and humble soundtrack all come together to make the player feel at home. Love and admiration for the simplicity of the past is a major part of romanticism, and Benson invokes that feeling of nostalgia in Night in the Woods that can't be found anywhere else. Another aspect of romanticism is Gothicism, or the adoration of medieval tales and grotesque monsters. This is expressed in modern video games by no one better than Hidetaka Miyazaki, the creative director of Bloodborne, which was released in 2015 by From Software. Witches, demons, hellhounds, and other medieval nightmares run rampant through the Gothic-style streets of this punishing and dark game, reminiscent of the more grueling side of romantic art and literature. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Matt Neva, the art director of the game Abzu, which was released by Giant Squid Studios in 2016, visually and thematically captured the concept of naturalism in his awe-inspiring work. Seriously, Abzu is the most visually stunning game I've ever played, and it does a fantastic job of romanticizing the beauty of nature and the corruption of technology. Also on the topic of naturalism, Raphael van Lierop is worth mentioning for his work on The Long Dark, an indie game released in 2018 by Hinterland Games. In this game, Earth has just been struck by a massive solar flare that has taken out all electronics worldwide, plunging humanity into silence and darkness. It also knocks the plane you were flying out of the sky, causing you to crash land in the middle of the Alaskan wilderness. You wake up wounded and with hardly any supplies. Your objective is simply to survive as long as possible. What's interesting about The Long Dark is that it's more of a survival simulator than a game. There are no zombies, monsters, or bandits to fight, just you and Mother Nature. A major aspect of romanticism was the triumph of nature over technology, and The Long Dark introduces that concept by ripping away the comfort of technology right off the bat and forcing you to face Mother Nature alone and fully exposed. It is terrifying, punishing, and downright cruel, and that's exactly why it works so well. I think this quote from the visual poem for the game directed by Jared Pelletier speaks for itself.
Did you hold unto the promises of old men after their fires died out? Did you hear their voices echo in your head as you faced the wrath of the nature that they'd ignored, unleashed?
Another topic I feel is a major part of the romantic movement is the importance of the individual. Alex Preston is a game developer who has suffered from a serious heart disease since birth, leading to several surgeries which have left him with numerous pieces of equipment in his chest. This later inspired him to name his company Heart Machine, who went on to develop and release their one and so far only title, Hyper Light Drifter. In this game, you play as a wanderer searching the vast, long-forgotten landscape surrounding him for a cure to his terminal illness. It's obvious that Preston took inspiration from his own life to create this game, and it makes the meaning behind it so much deeper and more representative of the alone against nature theme of romanticism. Finally, I want to talk about someone who takes romanticism in video games to the next level, especially concerning individuality as a theme. Arndt Jensen is the lead developer of Inside, a puzzle platforming game released in 2016 by the independent company known as Playdead. In this game, you play as a young boy and have no weapons or other means of defending yourself, meaning most of the game involves solving puzzles and avoiding danger. However, Inside's attraction comes from its art style and animation. The colors are drained and monotone, giving a bleak and lifeless mood to the game. The animations are fluid yet subtle. Coupled with the realistic sound design, it makes for a very down-to-earth, eerily believable experience, despite the surreal undertones. The romantic side of this game comes in when you compare your character to the world around him. The boy you play as is small, young, harmless, and most importantly, completely alone. The environment you explore throughout the game, however, is vast, decrepit, treacherous, and seemingly homogeneous. There are no distinct levels or loading screens in the game. The world around you seems almost as if it's all blended together as part of one being with no individuality within it whatsoever. You find mindless sheep throughout the game that may have once been called men and women, marching synchronously with no free will or individual thoughts to call their own. At the end of the game, you find a massive blob of human limbs, an amalgamation of society where the lines between individual people are blended and morphed together into one being. This contrast between you as the player and the environment you must progress through demonstrates how well Jensen conveys the romantic idea of individuality in the world he has created. Having taken a close look at these game developers and how they express their ideas through the games they make, it would seem as though Romanticism not only hasn't died out in modern art and literature, but can be found in even the most unlikely places. I hope you've learned something in this video, and personally, I find it rather exciting to see what artistic contributions video games have to offer in the future. Thanks for watching.